Hello Comic-Con, it's Daniel Pickett from Action Figure Insider, and I'm up here in the Hasbro booth with the Star Wars team.
Hey everybody.
Hi.
So you guys had your panel yesterday.
Yep.
Full of reveals. You've just come off a successful HasLab.
A very successful HasLab, yeah.
So it's kind of like there's no rest between these two events. You guys have been working so hard on the HasLab, and then you have to come and, you know, be in front of a live audience. So how do you guys get psyched up for Comic-Con?
Well, it's easy to get psyched up for Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Coming here and interacting with fans on the floor in person, like chatting with everybody like this, this is where the energy comes from. It's when we're done with this and we go, and go sit in a chair. That's when it's
when you feel
it's tiring. Yeah, but like doing this is what puts a smile on our face. What's exciting.
In the moment, this is where the energy comes from.
Yeah.
It's the most exciting parts of our job is to have these exciting campaigns and then come to cons. We always we have a con identity, right? Like Con Chris or Con Jing. It's like, you know, your other side comes out where you're just full of energy and you just want to talk to people. You want to take advantage of the short time that we have here before we go home and crash on the couch.
Right, and we know we're going to have amazing interactions with fans here. I mean, that's why it's exciting knowing it's coming.
Right.
And why we put all the work into it ahead of time and make sure we have good reveals. I mean, Jing has done an amazing job of planning out what we're going to show everybody at Comic-Con to really make that a nice, strong panel and get everybody excited. And I think we did that.
Yeah. What would you say has been the strongest reaction of what you've revealed so far?
For me, the Forge, the Armor's Forge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the fans were saying like, wow, I didn't see that coming. And they saw that as something new and exciting that surprised and delighted them. So that one was one that I was pretty excited about. I think because we didn't pipeline that, so the other ones were pipelined. For example, fans knew the blurg were coming. They loved the blurg. They were like, yes, it's here. So of course, those comments and feedback we were expecting. The Forge was a new one.
Yeah, and I think for me, I absolutely agreed. I think the fact that we surprised everybody with the Forge was really fun, both for us, and I think that ultimately played out for the fans too. But product-wise, I'm a big fan of that blurg, and the team did such amazing work on that thing.
Yeah.
All the deco on it. I was lucky enough to go to the factory not too long ago to work on the Ghost and the Cantina and some other stuff, and I actually get to put some pieces together for one of the blurgs on the assembly line, which was really fun. Yeah. A whole new appreciation for everything that goes into that stuff.
Yeah. So the Forge is super fun because Star Wars has such a rich history with play sets and that sort of thing. So still, finding that in the new entertainment. As an old school fan, that's and you did such a great job with the packaging, making it feel, like an old Kenner playset.
The team's amazing, and we've got a lot of great history to draw on. So, I mean, Emily doing all the product design stuff on that. I mean, photography. I mean, Matt in the photo studio, Liz on the packaging. I mean, in some ways, I don't like mentioning anybody because I forget so many people.
Sure.
But because that's the thing. It's not 3 people. It's 103 people, and everybody plays a critical part in that.
Yeah. So how do you? I mean, it's a good problem to have. You have such an embarrassment of riches as far as Star Wars entertainment now, with the movies, with video games, with everything on Disney Plus, and it's not quite. The old school Star Wars days when we were just waiting on movies.
We had a movie and then a few years to do product between them.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure to you guys it never feels like you can catch up because the next thing is kind of waiting in the wings. How do you handle that?
Well, we never catch up.
We try our hardest to catch up. We try our hardest to prioritize, right? To your point, riches, embarrassment of riches. We're lucky there was, Acolyte that just wrapped up, the original trilogy, which we spent some time on with the HasLab, for example. Mandalorian Season 3, which was amazing with some of the play sets and characters we just revealed. We pull from the fan base a lot to hear from you guys what you want. and try to build stories around that where it makes sense. So Pipeline is a great example of that. We did Balin and Shin together.
Yeah.
We know that they were top demanded figures, and we know the two of them had to be done together. So, you know, we take what we can from Lucasfilm, from the fans, from the community, from what's current, what, you know, everything that we hear to balance as much as we can. And we try our hardest to do what.
Yeah, and I think it is true. Like, we're not going to catch up, but that's not a bad thing. Like, the fact that we can't catch up is amazing. Like, that's the time we live in, where there's so much Star Wars, so many amazing figures, that like making those smart choices, like Jing said, to really kind of deliver at the right pace to keep everything moving, I think is really fun.
I feel very fortunate as a Star Wars fan, you know, from the 70s, that I've been collecting this whole time. So I was there in the 90s before Episode 1 came out, so I have all these great creatures to put in my cantina. I feel kind of bad for, you know, the people that are coming.
That's the nice thing. There's a lot of history, so that stuff is out there. And like, some of it's available easier than others, but it's there, and it builds a great cantina. I think like Emily and Matt brought their own collections in to shoot photos around the cantina when we were playing.
I think where you're also getting to, and let us know if like there was a, you know, part to that question we're not answering, but the cantina funded. It just funded. We're so excited, but that just sets a runway for us to think about the cantina and think about that world and think about what fits and think about what fans want, you know, and that becomes part of our consideration set while we think about items to pull out and, you know, things along those lines.
Yeah, and it's a great anchor point, the cantina, for the Return to Tatooine program we've talked about. But like Jing said, it's the start of a runway. Yeah. And the same way the Blurg is a continuation of the Razor Crest from years ago. Like, I mean, we're not gonna walk away from the cantina. Like, that's gonna be something we look back to and say, oh, hey, how can we support that? Like, what's our plan to ongoing have a Halo program around that? So.
But yeah, I mean, to some extent, though, you guys are air traffic controllers, because you have a runway for Jabba's barge, you have a runway for, you know, the Razor Crest, you've got the Ghost, and you've got this. So it's like,
there are airplanes coming everywhere, opposing bases. It's all over the place. Yeah.
No, we're lucky. We're lucky that there's at least a lot to pull from.
Yeah. So I think a great example that you guys presented in the panel about listening to fans is the change in the packaging for deluxe figures. Can you kind of talk about that decision?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we've been hearing some feedback. It definitely, for us, we're trying to gather, understand if that's what everyone wants or the majority wants, and how to execute that while differentiating. So we do want to differentiate between base and like the deluxe figure. So we made the blister slightly larger. I think there were some questions if it was as large as the Maldo Priest pack that we did a few years ago. It's not. Okay. It's slightly smaller, but it is still differentiated on shelf versus like the base vintage packaging. We do have both on display right now in our booth, and you can see how great they look together as a collection. It sticks to what a Kenner card back looks like. Yeah. It looks great together. It has that blister, that deck, like everything.
Well, and captures
about
the image. So, like, I think we said in the panel, the image area on that card is essentially the same as it is on the regular card, but it's grown across a little bit, so the blister can be bigger to support all the accessories or a larger figure, or whatever a deluxe figure wants to be.
For that deluxe pack, so.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask, though, in the panel there were no retro reveals. Are we still
retros? We still love our retro. We've got new stuff here in the case.
Right.
The episode 2 and episode 3 pack and the Acolyte pack. So I think like that alone, the fact that we've got all that shows that retro is still important to us.
Okay.
So,
I just want to make sure.
I'm still on the brand, so
every time
I will be digging myself a grave to keep retro alive for us. So
excellent. That's what I like to hear. That is my favorite. You know, I collect all the scales, but that one is very near and dear to my heart. So I'm very glad to hear that. So for the rest of Comic-Con, you know, you've got a couple more days, and then you go back.
Yeah. Well, a couple more people to talk to out there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Look at all these guys down here, and then you hit the ground running all over again. Do you get a couple of days off or anything? Do you get to rest?
I'll take a day.
Rest your voice?
I'll take a day to breathe.
Yeah. I mean, I fly back on Monday. I'm probably in the office Tuesday morning.
Oh gosh.
I have to get deco sheets and stuff together for the cantina, finalize all that stuff. So it's just ongoing. Yeah. I will find some time, but I will also probably work longer hours than I should, because I think the whole team does. Like, we're passionate about this stuff, and it's hard to walk away from something that you care so much about.
Sure.
Even if you're on vacation, you're still thinking about it.
Yeah, I will need that day to sleep, but then I'll be right back at it. I'm only human. I'm not Chris, superhuman.
I'm good at sleeping on airplanes.
Oh,
so
I am not. Maybe that's it.
And my flights home are very long. So.
But you're a pilot too, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Well, I don't sleep while I'm flying.
I just want to make sure.
I'm very comfortable in the air. So.
All right.
Yes.
That makes more sense. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for your passion, the care, love, and attention that you guys continue to give this brand. Thank you for making yourself accessible to the fans. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah. I mean, we've said it before. The dialogue between us and fans is critical to making sure we do things right. And I think like all the feedback from fans, like, keep it coming. Like, it's harsh sometimes, but informed, critical comments are what move things forward and make change. So yeah.
Well, I just for me personally, I feel sometimes you came into this company as a designer, not to be a YouTube star, and so sometimes I feel bad that you guys have to.
No, don't feel bad. Like I love this interaction. I like doing this. I think Jing does too.
This is where we get our energy from.
Yeah.
Like
all right,
saying.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for taking the time to come and interview and talk to us and sharing the questions that you hear as well. So it really is what hypes us up. When we're tired, we're like, when's the next interview so we can pick it back up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is good to hear. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your con.
You too.
And we can't wait to see what's next for the Star Wars brand.
Awesome. We can't wait to tell you.
All right, thanks so much.
Well, we can wait to tell you.